All right, so good evening, everyone. Today we're gonna kick off a new session. Basically, our last meeting was the physical meeting on Friday, which we discussed about using Canva for design. We did some animation, and we basically explored Canva, right? So today what we're going to do, we're going to continue from where we stopped. But before I do that, I will want to ask how many of us were able to like design something, make a design on Canva. If you did, you can um you can raise your hands, or just you can just speak with your mic. So maybe we can have a look. So anyone, I'm sure we were able to do something at least.
I did.
Okay, cool. You have the have you been able to export the file?
What's the file? Hmm? Sorry, I didn't hear you.
I say, were you able to export the what do they call it now? The file, the design. Do you have the design?
I'm
So we can
coming.
have a look. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So if any of us did it, please just share. I want you can share it on the group, or you can share your screen if you're still on Canva. You want to like just have a look, whichever. I want to just see what we have. So we can continue from there. Let me enable share.
Should I send what I just designed, or like the before and the after, what I tweaked
Okay.
around with and what it looks like now?
Okay. Yes. Yes. That would be good. The before and after, if you have that too. Okay. So while we're here, please check the chat. If you've not filled the attendance, just go over it and click that link there so you can fill the attendance for today. It's quite important, so just do that if you've not done it already.
Please, what week are we going to put there? Week what, please?
Week 4.
All right, thank you.
Okay. So Taiwo, any updates?
Sorry, I thought last week was week 4. This week be week 5.
Last week? No, I think last week was week 3, right? Please, if
I
I'm
think
wrong, just let me know.
well,
You can confirm.
last week was week 4. This week should be week 5.
Okay, week 4, right? Okay. Um, okay, yeah, it says week 4. Just feeling week 4. That's fine. Doesn't matter that much. Just week 4. I guess a different calculation. So Taiwo, any progress? So we can kick off today. I want to just see anyone's work to see how far. Or if you can't, what they call it now, if you can't export it yet, you can just share your screen so we can look at it on Canva, whichever works.
Sorry, I'm having a hard time. I'll just copy and paste the link. So you
Okay,
just go there like that. Okay.
on Canva. Okay, yeah, yeah, that works. So. So, as many of us that have not done anything, I would advise that we actually do something. Initially I had shared the capstone project and everything we're currently doing is in view of how we can be able to like actually tackle that project. So if you don't do anything now, by the time it's time for the project, you will probably be overwhelmed, right? So just take it step by step and please try to um, work on the assignments that I gave. I think it's asking me for access. Maybe you can make it accessible to everybody. Taiwo, the link you shared saying I don't have permission. So maybe you just edit the permissions to have to be for anybody.
Okay, sir, I'm coming.
Okay. Okay, so any other person who has, please share. I want to see, what we came up with before I move on to the next thing because it's actually very important. Um, I don't think it was that difficult actually. I think it's just for us to do a design on Canva, right? We already did one in After Effects. As many of us are actually following. But this time I say we should do another one on Canva, right? Which is very, very um I don't think it should really be a problem, right? So please, whenever you have the even if it's not here, um maybe when we're done with this call, drop it on the group so we can have a look. Yeah, then probably edit and give feedback essentially. Yeah. Okay. 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 I think I've seen it. Yes, I've seen it. Okay. Okay. Nice. All right. All right. Thank you. I think I've seen that.
The plain one with just one plate of food with white background was the before, then the other one with two plates is the after.
Is the after. Okay.
Yeah,
That's nice.
that's nice.
Okay. Nice. Okay. So I think we can move on now. So what we are going to do today, let me share my
Today,
screen. We will just continue from where we stopped last week. Last week we discussed about Canva and a lot of design um tutorials essentially.
actually,
Mm, I'm hearing something. It's from me. I'm hearing a background noise
yeah,
somewhere.
many.
Okay. All right. So I think we're good. I have to mute someone. Okay. So what we will be doing today? Let me open up my Canva. So last week, I think I'll just quickly go over it. Um, of course, Canva is a website that we all know. There's also a very popular app called Canva on our phones, right? So I said we'll create a design, basically. I think we already did one, so I'll just open up one that I already started working on last week. But like, let's say we want to do a new one, right? Um, use a custom design. I think we used 1920 by 1920. I'm just quickly like speeding through it. So from here, we're going to export this design that we create into After Effects. But let me just quickly speed through it. So we have our design. I think I will just do what do you call it now? Let's see, drink advert something. Drink advert. Check for a template. I will just quickly work on that, and I would use that for the design. Just pick anything, so don't waste too much time. Let's see. Sort of like this. Okay, let's see. What do we have here? So this is our okay. Doesn't look bad. Okay, so let me see. Yeah, not bad. Let's just use it for demonstrating purposes. So maybe I'll exchange my, let me see. I have a Fanta bottle somewhere. I'll use that Fanta bottle. So we have our interface. I would go to my layers. I think I want to use the, where is this bottle? I'll put a Fanta bottle here instead. So I'll just Control C this and Control V here. Okay, let me quickly adjust it. Right. Well, I go to my layers, drag it down because I want it to appear underneath the splash. I'll change this to new Fanta. Just let me see. Should I adjust? Now 40 CL. Okay. Okay. Should we add? Let's add in check my elements. Check my elements. Let's see. Let me search for wave. Search for wave. Okay, let's use this. So I'm just quickly doing a sample one, live. So just have a quick idea of how it works. Basically, let me use this color. Maybe I will use the blue from that Fanta. So let me select color. I'll color pick this. Let's see. Probably let me try darker blue. So you can see that even when we discuss about color theory, they are all in play. We have two major colors or three major colors. We have orange, we have blue, and we have green. If you check our color wheel, that's a color harmony there. That's more like a triadic color harmony. Especially. Please, can you mute yourself, John? I don't know. I'm hearing. Okay, thank you. So, okay. What was I? Let me just adjust this color a bit. So, or let me color pick this one. Okay. So I won't stress myself. Okay, then maybe I'll move this one a bit here. I don't like this one here. Maybe to be smaller. So I'm trying to all the things I taught you about design theory, trying to gauge the eyes. I taught you about the pattern, the Z pattern that we have when you are scrolling through your design. So even these things on the air, they have a pattern. You can see the Z pattern here. Um, Going by that principle, this probably does not even have to be here. It would work the way it is. Let me see. Then we have this. Okay. Move this here. So we have from here to here to here. That's more balanced. Let me see if green will be better here. No, I prefer blue. And I'll just try to balance it up by duplicating it. I'll flip it and drag it there. And I'll take it back. So for the sake of this class, let's just say this is our design. If I could still add more things if I wanted to add more things, but I think we'll just leave it like this for now. But I think this blue is too. Let me reduce the darkness of this blue. It's too dominant. Okay. 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 Let's just leave it like this and say this is our design, our flyer. So how do we take this to After Effects? How do we animate it? Very, very simple. So once you have your design on Canva already and all good to go, what we are going to do is that we're going to export it as a PDF file, right? Now mind you, if you have many pages on your Canva design, it could look like this. It depends on how you're viewing your Canva design. But let's say you have many pages. So when you go here, you see this place, you have share. Then you click download, change it to PDF standard. And then it will ask you what page you want to export. I will just select current page. So first of all, I'll first click this. So it would select everything. Then I'll now click current page. So we're going to pick the current page. Now click done. And make sure you don't tick flatten PDF. If you do that, that's going to make everything totally useless because it's going to flatten the image. So because the reason why we're using PDF is because we want to have control over the layers, right? Why we did not use PNG, MP4, JPEG, there's so many other options here. Is that if I export it, I can't get the layers, like this again. It's going to be one image. So PDF is the format that we use to retain the layer structure, right? We can also make use of SVG if you want, but I've discovered that PDF is a bit more, usually it's a bit more dependable. So sometimes I could export in both PDF and SVG. That's SVG here, but I recommend PDF. So click PDF and we'll then download. So like I said before, please let's have our designs. Come up with your design on Canva, and let's see what you can come up with. So we can actually begin to tackle things that you probably face when it comes to like a real work, right? So I'll save this in my downloads folder. So I don't have. Okay, so that's done. So now, if you go to your PC, wherever you have your file save, you find it there. It's a PDF, right? Normal PDF. So nothing special yet because it's just like a PDF. But what we're going to do that we're going to use a software. I could have said open Photoshop, but actually Photoshop is actually very bad with handling PDF and SVG. So what I recommend you use instead is an app called Photopea. That's PHOTOPEA.com. They also have an app, but the website is fine, totally fine. So just go to this link, photopea.com. That's that's photo, right? Then PEA.com. This is where we were going to convert this PDF to a Photoshop file. Now, why are we using Photopea? We're using Photopea because we want to convert the PDF to a Photoshop file. And why do you want to convert to a Photoshop file? Because After Effects recognizes Photoshop files. It does not recognize PDF files, right? So I think it's very clear. So we want to work with After Effects from Canva. So how do we go about it? We have to first export it as PDF, which we already did, which will keep all the layer structures. Then we'll now convert that PDF to a Photoshop file. So we're making use of Photo P for that, right? So once you have Photo P open, just it's a website, very, very simple. Go over to your file, drag and drop it, or you can open it, file, open, whichever you prefer. I will just drag and drop it. So we're going to have the file. So it will load the PDF now in Photo P. Sort of like Photoshop, basically, but in my opinion, I don't know. For most things I use, Photo P is actually a bit more it has a bit more features, surprisingly, and it's free, right? So I recommend Photopea for especially converting PDF to Photoshop files, right? So we have our file here,
Hello, sir.
Photopea. Yes. Do you
So
have a
if what if we do our designs with Photoshop? Are we still going to come back to Photopea?
no? If you do your design with Photoshop, that's fine. You just drag it to After Effects directly. You don't have to use.
Because it's
You don't
already in PSD file
have
already. So
it's already in PS. If you even do it in, let's say, Illustrator or any software, you can also easily convert it to After Effects. But because we are using Canva, that's why we are going through this route, right? So,
all right, noted, sir.
okay. So we're going to have, so you can see that we have our layers. So these are all the layers. If you don't know how this software works, don't get confused. Just focus on one or two major things. The layers. So this is what we're trying to retain, all these layers. You have control over all the layers from Canva. That's the idea. So the only thing we're going to do here, we're going to just organize these layers so that when you take it to After Effects, it's not going to be too scattered. If you design in Photoshop, for example, let's say you already know how to design in Photoshop, then it's probably already very like quite arranged. If it's not arranged, you have to like arrange it well. But I'm going to show you how you arrange it. So when you take it to After Effects, it won't be like you won't be confused, right? So now we know in After Effects when we were working on our first design, we made a text layer, we imported a picture, we created a shape as a background, we did so many things. And each of those things had its own layer, right? So now just picture it as these things you have seen here are also layers. So in After Effects, every single thing you are seeing here will be a different layer on your timeline, right? So the goal really is that we want to reduce the amount of layers that will be on our timeline. And we don't want confusing things like path 36. Like this layer now is called path 36, which doesn't make any sense. We don't know what path 36 is. So we want to label them accordingly so that we can know what is what, right? So usually what I will do is that I will group things together. So basically you can see that we have all these things inside page one. It's a folder. Now, just another disclaimer too. Whenever you have a folder, as you have like this now, we have one folder here, it's another folder. The ones that have this icon. These folders will appear as compositions. Remember compositions in After Effects? It's like a group, right? So remember we said if you want to group like many things together, we'll select them and we'll make them a pre-composition in After Effects. So these things that are groups here are going to be pre-composition in After Effects when we import them, right? So I'm just trying to be very, very clear so that because as it is now, you can actually import it to After Effects. It will work, but you're going to be very confused because you have too many layers and you don't know what to focus on. So what we're going to do, I'm going to just label it so that when we get to After Effects, we won't be confused. So I think the first thing I'll do is I'll check the first layer here. This is a text layer now in 40cl. That's fine. I think I can leave that as one layer. That's fine. Then what do you have here? This is the green shape here. Okay. What was this? This is the shadow. So you see that these two things are probably the same thing. This is a shape and a shadow. So I would group I think I'll group this together. I'll group this with this because they're like the same thing essentially, the shadow and the shape. So I'll select this, right? I will hold my, you know, the way you select multiple things in your computer normally, you hold control and you click. So have these two things selected. So I'll press Control G, as in G, as in G, the letter G, like G for gold. So I press G. Now it has become one folder. So if I open the folder, you see we have two things here. We have the path and the shadow. So this is now going to be one pre-composition in our After Effects timeline. So I'm going to rename this, right click, and okay, I guess it's quite different. Just double click on the name to change the name. So I'll call this, maybe I'll just call this green shape. So I will know that that's what this layer is for, green shape. So please, as I'm working, if you have your system here, you can also follow along. You have your design already, just export it and import Photopea and begin to work on it. What do we have? What do you have next? This is an arrow. This is a green arrow. So I'll just name it green arrow. Green arrow. What's this? Okay, this is the orange. Let me just call this one orange. Orange. Um, left bottom LB. Orange LB. LB. Then which was this? Oh, these are splash. So I'll call this splash. So like I said, to rename it, if a layer, just double tap on the name, then you can change it. Then what was this? This is the orange on the right. So orange, right B, right bottom. Then what was this? These are shape. I can even see that there was a little gap here. I didn't cover this place. So in this photo P, now you see the way I'm scrolling in it. You just use your mouse, your mouse scroll wheel to zoom in and zoom out. It's very, very simple. Then if you want to move around your canvas, the same way you have in After Effects, just hold your space bar, right? It will change to a hand tool, then you can move it. Or if you want the slow method, you can click here and pick your hand tool, then move your canvas, whichever you want. But I'll use my move tool, right? Because I want to fill in this gap here. There was a mistake I made in Canva, apparently. So I'll click this. Well, I think is it this? Okay, yeah, this is it. I'll click that layer and I'll move it a bit so to cover that space. Let's see. Oh, and now it does. So the handles, the same way in After Effects, you can resize things. So that I will just drag this so it would feel this. Let me bring it down now. So essentially, Photopea is actually a software that you can use to design, like Photoshop, if you actually know how to use the software. But because it's not really a design class or a design course, so I don't necessarily have to go through every single thing. But I think using Canva, right, with what I taught us last week is perfectly fine. Whichever you want to use, so whatever you want to use is fine. I think I've told you the basic of design already. So whatever tool you want to use, just use it. Right? Use it. So I think I've edited that. So let me see. So I'll call this wait, I'll click this, drop it down. So I'll call this what will I call it now? Blue shape. Um I'll call it blue. Let me just call it B. B mean bottom. Then what was this? Wait, I think this is the other. Okay, this is the orange. So now you see that I'm doing it, I'm labeling them individually. Like I said, you don't have to do this method. You can just say save as Photoshop and just open it After Effects. You will now become so confused. So it's just for the sake of being organized and orderly, right? That's why I'm doing this. So when we go to After Effects, we won't be asking ourselves, what's this? What layer is this? So this one, this is the orange. I'll call it orange. top right, no, top left, CL. Then what is this? Okay, this is the bottle itself. So I'll call this bottle. What is it? Okay, this is the orange top right. Wait, orange top right. Then this, I think these are the texts. So you just give me individual text. Each letter has its own layer, which is not going to be very useful. Like you even have for space, all the letters have a layer, which is very, it's a waste of layers. There are too many layers. So I'll just select all of these layers, right? And I'll group them together. Control G. Right? I'll just call it new Fanta. So I know that is what is there. Then what's this? This is the top one. So I'll call this blue shape, blue top shape, blue. Okay, then what is this? This is the orange behind. I'll just call this orange behind, or B, orange B. Then this is the background, I guess. Yeah, this is the background. I'll just call it BG, background. Then this, what is this? Nothing. Just delete it. So just select it and press delete here. You just press it on your keyboard. So now we have everything thoroughly organized, right? All good. I think we are set now. We are set for After Effects. So the last thing that I would tell you that you can see that all these layers are inside this thing called page one, right? So there's a folder and it puts everything inside page one folder. Probably it was from Canva because we had like that was the first page. So maybe Canva like groups them by page into folders. So what I'll do is that I want to move everything away from that. So I will select this, to the last layer. I'll use my shift key, just like you normally do with your Windows, like, multiple select. So you press the first item, go to the last item, you hold your shift, then you click and you select everything. So I want to move this away from this. I mean, I can leave it there if I want to, actually, it's fine. But I don't like it inside one, you know, inside one inside one group. So I'll just move it and drag it on top there. So now if I scroll down, you see that group is empty. So I'll just delete it. Now, mind you, this you don't have to do all these things. You can just ignore these things, but I will recommend you do them. So your layers will be organized once you get to After Effects, right? So I think we're done. Have all the layers thoroughly grouped. Everything is properly organized, and yeah, we can now export as a Photoshop file for After Effects. Okay, so before I continue, are there any questions? Maybe you didn't get something I said before now that you can ask, because that's why we have this live classes. So in case you have a question, please feel free to ask before I move on. So any questions? No questions, I'll proceed. Okay, so I guess no questions then. All right, continue then. So to export our file, you go over to File, right? Save as PSD. Very clear. Can never miss it. I'll just save it as PSD on my download folder. Okay, so it's there. I think no. Okay, still saving. Yeah, this is it. New Fanta PDF.psd. Yep. So now let us check this file in After Effects. So what do I do now? Open After Effects. Now you see that initially we designed with After Effects from scratch, right? Now don't forget the principles I taught you from the beginning, because this is how you would actually be able to even make your designs. Whether you're doing it from scratch, you are using a template, you have to have something original, right? But when you are able to establish the, what do you call it now? the layout of your design. You can use for anything, right? I remember I told you guys that let me see. For example, you don't necessarily have to use a fruit advert. You can say, oh, I want let's say a shoe advert, right? Let's say you want to actually design a fruit advert. But this template, for example, you know, you can use them as a sort of guide, right? I mean, just look at this now. This is a business. This is not even a fruit advert stuff. But from the layout, I like the layout. I like the way, okay, we have a main subject here, right? You can draw the boxes that we talked about. You see all the boxes. We have our title, we have um, a call to action. So I can just say, okay, I like this layout. So let me just, work with it. I'll now say, okay, let me even use my own element. I don't want to use that. I want to change it to my own design now. But it's a good reference that I started with. So it's just, you know, trying to tell you that, okay, you don't necessarily have to like copy. It's just a guide, essentially, right? So I remove this. Let's see if I can get Canva, Fanta logo. I doubt so. Fanta logo on Canva. Let's see. Probably. Yeah. Probably because of copyright. They won't have it. They just put any random thing. So let's say that's Fanta logo. The text there. Fanta. You see from there I'm literally walking, you know, new Fanta available in 50 cl. Right? You see, I'm adjusting our design. It's not red. I don't want red. I want orange. So I'll change that color to orange. All of a sudden, things are changing. I don't want this photo. I want a different photo. Let me go to my photos. Let me just look for a happy person drinking. Taking a while. Okay, but basically, I'm sure we get the idea. So essentially, just come up with your own designs. Use whatever you want to use. You don't have to like be so generic and just copy everything. But yeah, I mean, feel free. So I don't want that. So, then we can even add more elements. Just play around with it, basically. Okay, so I think I've established that fact. So please, once you're done with this meeting, I want you guys to have your designs ready. Because if you can't even come up with your own designs, how can you do a design for someone else? So I mean, this is the first step. If you have any challenges, ask them on the group so we can sort them out, right? Um, okay, I think I will just move ahead. I've probably established that a lot. Okay, so now I will create a composition. This After Effects. So remember what I said. You open After Effects. It depends on the version you have. You might see file, new, new project, right? Then you now click new composition, right? Then remember this menu. No, I think this is this menu that will usually pop up. I'll ask you what's the size of your canvas. I think on Canva we used 1920 by 120. So I'll just use that same one here. Yeah, then I would leave everything as it is. Everything looks good. Okay. So now we have our we have the canvas. So I would import the Photoshop file here. Two ways, remember, there are like four ways. But the first way, the easiest way, you just go to your file browser, you just drag and drop it. Very simple. Right, that's one. Two is you double tap on here, this empty space right here. The same thing. You ask you where's the file, you open the file, select it. That's two. Three, you can right click import and click file, right? Same thing. Where's the file? Then you can also use Control I and to ask you where's the file. That's import. Then lastly, you can use this file and import. So that's 5 ways actually. So there's no way you say I don't know how to import. It's very, very easy. Many ways to do it, right? So I will import it. Once you have a Photoshop file, you're going to ask you this question. What are you importing it as? Right? This is very important. And please take note. Don't import it as a composition or all these other things they are saying. Just import it as a footage, right? Now it's asking you, do you want to merge the layers or do you want to select just one layer? Just use merge layers. So usually the default should be fine, right? Footage and merged layers. Very simple. Then you select that. You find the file here, right? You now drag it to your timeline. Drag and drop. You have it here. I think it's even bigger. It's bigger than our composition. What was the size again? Well, let me check photo P. I think it's even supposed to be. Let me see. Photo P. Where's photo P? You can check the size by going to I think image. Yeah, canvas size. So what size is here? Oh, this is using 2880. Okay. So I'll adjust the one on After Effects. Let me see. So to edit a composition. So we see that we've already created our composition, but we want to make an adjustment to the composition. You just press Ctrl K one, or you go to your composition window here and you see it here, composition settings. So it was 2880 by 2880. Yeah, that's the size. Okay. That's one way, right? Or we could have reduced the size of our design, but I want you to just fit so it doesn't change. So this is our design now is live in After Effects, right? So now you will now be asking yourself, where are the layers? Right? I'm only seeing one PSD layer here, which is very, very fine. How do you break down the layers in After Effects? Just right click. So once it's in your your timeline, right? So once you have a Photoshop file in your timeline, take notes. You can always right click and you will see create. Select create, you see convert to layered composition. So what will it do? As it says, it will convert this layer to a layered composition. So I would select that option. And now what happened? You see that it created a composition, right? See here. Remember what a composition is? A group of things, right? So that means if I double tap on this thing now, I should see all the layers there. So double tap and you see all the layers that are here, all of them. And see the way we arrange them is very neat. We know that, okay, this is, see it now in 40 cl. That's the layer here. See here, the shape, the green shape, that's the layer here. The arrow, that's the layer here, right? The orange, that's the layer. Even the bottle, we know the bottle. We're not confused. We're not saying, oh, which one is stroke this, stroke that. This is the bottle, right? So it's organized, it's clear, it's simple. So now this is where we would now work and animate our design. I think it's very, very clear. So you can see how from Canva we had where's Canva here? So we had this design, we did it in Canva, right? We exported this design, and we used PDF standard, not print, PDF standard. We had that file, we imported the file to Photopea, right? Then we edited all the layers. So these layers are what you are seeing in After Effects as this, right? So you see the ones that are compositions, they are groups. Remember this shape, this green shape had the shape and the what do you call it now? The shape and the shadow. Remember we group them together here, right? Here. See the two of them here. This is the shape and this is the shadow. So if I open After Effects now, If I open this green shape composition, you will see two things there, the shape and the shadow. So I'm just trying to so you can see how it works. So a group is called is a group here, right? But in After Effects is a composition, just so you can really understand. So if you open that composition, you will now find the two elements here, right? So I think that's very clear. Let me go back to the main composition. So another disclaimer too, when you open a composition like this now, to go back to like where you were coming from, see this arrow at the top here, you are seeing what is inside what, right? So I'll just go back to where I was before. Blue shape has its own layer or composition. Yeah, so I mean, very, very clear, very simple. So what do we now do from here? We will now do what we actually had started doing. That's the correct English from the beginning, which is that we're animating it. I'm sure and I hope that we actually practice some of the animation I talked about before, about using keyframes. So you can see that the things that we're talking about, they are all coming together now. So if you are skipping classes, you're not doing the assignments, you're only making your job more difficult because we're going to keep laying on top of another thing. So if you skip one thing, we're going to, by the time we will go to that new level, you see that the knowledge you're supposed to have, you will not have to have it again. So if you are skip the class on keyframing and animation, as I'm talking now, you'll be looking at me because you don't know what I'm saying. So as I'm saying now that we should go back and design our Canva, make our Canva designs, please do it. So when we meet again, you won't be confused because we're going to add more on top of that, right? So please take all the assignments very seriously. It's for your own good, right? So we have our design. You can see that they're all on the timeline. You see how long they last on our timeline, right? Like this now in 440 cl layer, it ends as 10 seconds. So I can literally just drag it if I want it to last longer. So I think I want to last throughout our entire canvas timeline. All these layers should be last to the end. I don't want them to end abruptly. So I'll just drag it so last to the end. Oh wait, I think some of them don't last to the end. Let me see. So maybe if I open this, let me open it. I'll double tap it. Yeah. So this one is still stopping here. Last to the end. So you see that some of these layers inside, because they're inside themselves. You have to check how long they also last. So let me go back. Check that one disappeared. I think the bottle disappeared. So let's see. So I just want it to last for a longer time. Bottle. Let's open the bottle composition. Yeah. Let's let it go further. Which other one? I think this one. Yep. Drag it out more. This one as well. Drag it out more. Drag it out more. All these layers. I'll just use shift select to highlight everything, then I'll drag it out to the end. This, drag it out to the end. Okay, I think everything now should last to the end of our composition. Okay, so we are good. So now we can begin to animate, right? So now I will just continue from where we stopped and maybe try and go over again just a little bit, but I won't spend too much time on it. So how then do we animate our elements in our design? Initially, I talked about we have rules. Okay, maybe not rules, principles of design, elements of design, right? Now, I said that a design is any piece of artwork, right? That gives a message to the audience. Now, this our design is giving you a message. It's telling you that there's a new Fanta in 40 cl size. That's just the message, right? So basically, in my animation, I want to also convey. So my design is conveying that message. I also want my animation to convey that message as well. So I'm going to see how I can bring the elements step by step. If you remember the thing we talked about in animation principle, we said staging. That's one animation principle, staging. If you remember from those 12 lists that we mentioned, there's one of them that we call staging. And what is staging? Staging means that it means that you are able to direct the audience eyes to what you want them to look at per time. So you see that we are building on top of what we started from the beginning, right? So staging it was when I said that, oh, imagine you have a character, let's say um we have someone, a girl is crying that, oh, maybe she fell or something, and a boy walks up to her and says, oh, very, very sorry, right? So if the girl is first crying, one, then the boy walks up to her, two, then let's say the third event is that someone now takes her purse and runs away. That's three. So it happens like in sequence. First, the girl is crying. Second, the boy is like sorry. Then third, the thief comes and takes something from her. That's three, right? So it doesn't happen at the same time because it will be confusing. You don't know what's going on. So a good storyteller, a good animator would stage those things properly. So the same thing in this animation. These elements are like actors on our scene. We don't want everything to happen at the same time. It will be confusing, right? So the idea in how we're going to tackle this animation is that we're going to first pick the things that should start first, then just keep laying them on top of on themselves till we now have the final action. So that's the simple idea. So if you check any adverts, maybe as some of us are live in Lagos or any other state, the way they have like this digital billboards where you see like an advert. Maybe they'll say Guinness, you see the bottle be spinning or something like that. If you look at it very carefully, those things don't happen at the same time. Maybe the text will first appear, then something under will now appear, then the bottle will now show, then the splash will now show, and then now say now available in. So that's what I'm talking about, like staging. You don't put everything at the same time, you do it step by step by step. So just thinking about this design now, if I were to animate it, I'll probably um I'll probably start with, let's say, this top, this two stuff over here, these blue things. Maybe they will appear first. Then after they appear, um, the new Fanta will now appear, right? New Fanta will appear. Then let's say after the new Fanta appears, these oranges will now appear. Then the bottle will now appear. Then the splash will now appear last. Then finally, we'll now have the now in 40 CL. That will be the final thing. So you see, I've arranged them. I've arranged them. We have So I mean, I don't usually write it down, but you can write it down if you want to be very, very clear, right? To know how to stage the animation properly. So what's the first thing that I should appear? So those blue bars will appear. One. After those blue bars appear, let's say new Fanta will appear. New Fanta, right? Then we'll have which other thing? The oranges will appear. Then we'll now have the bottle. And lastly, we'll have the splash. So you see, I'm staging the animation. I'm not just saying, oh, because I say let's animate it, let us put animation, let everything just be moving around. Zzz, you know, that's not how it works. So you see, we're applying the principles of animation in our animation. Even when we get to 3D animation and we dive a little bit more on like actual character animation and cartoons and things like that, it's still the same thing we're going to talk about. We're not going to deviate from these principles, which is why I said you should really learn them. So if you skip those initial classes, it's really going to affect you now, right? So if you've not watched them, go back and watch them. It's just like maths. They said learn how to do addition. You're not saying no. You're not going to SS3. You're not start doing differentiation. I don't know how you want to do it because you don't know how to add two things together. So please, every assignment I've given, go back and look at it so you will know how best you can really tackle everything that comes your way. So for my list here, it means the blue stuff is going to appear first. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to first of all, let's see. Maybe what I'll do is that maybe so this blue stuff would appear like this one on top now. So let me show you how to keyframe things first of all. So I'm going to start with this first one on top. So I'll zoom in. Let's quickly animate this thing so we don't take too much time. We're leaving here by 7. So the blue one, I think where is the blue? Yeah, blue shape. Blue bottom, lowest, yeah, top one. So and you can also rearrange the order, So I can say, oh, let this one appear on top of everything, right? Depends. I can do it if I want, but I'll just leave it the way it is. So how do I animate? I told you that you click this drop down, right? Then you click transform. Then you see all the options that you can animate. You can animate the anchor points. You can animate the position, the scale, the rotation, and the opacity. All of this can be animated. And you enable the animation by clicking this stopwatch icon, right? So so the idea for this one is that when it starts, nothing is going to be on the screen besides the background. But so let me first keyframe. So I'll click this, click position. So you see that stopwatch, click it. It will create a keyframe right here. So that means it's storing that information. So it's storing the position at this time to be in this position, X and Y axis. Remember what I said, X and Y axis. So on the X and Y axis, that's where it is. So I can adjust it from here, or I can move it here too on the screen, whichever I prefer. So I have keyframed it as, so I'm telling the computer that at this point in time, let this thing be in this position right here. You see the keyframe here? That diamond stuff, that's it. Now, then at the beginning, I want it to be off screen. So I'm going to move it away from the screen. Away from the screen. So what does that do now? You see that what I did was that I first clicked this stopwatch. It activates the animation feature. So whenever I make any adjustments per time, don't click this in again. If you do that, you're going to cancel all the keyframes. Just simply move it where you want it to be, and it will add the keyframe. So you only click this icon the first time you want to activate it, not. So let me show you now. If I click this thing again, now you saw what will happen. You're going to remove all the keyframes, which is not what we want. So, like I said, how do you keyframe objects? You first say, okay, in my case, I want it at 3 seconds. I want it to be here. So I will click icon, the stopwatch. So start the animation now, right? I've enabled the animation. Then at the beginning, I want it to be off screen first because I want it to appear like it's coming. So now just watch. If I move this playhead, you see what happens? It's moving in. So because I keyframed it that here is going to be here, then at this point it's going to be here. So it's going to fill in the gaps for me. So it's going to move it, right? Very simple. So if I press space bar now, you see it will move. It has moved. Or it's moving. Right? You can see it. See it is moving. Wait, I think my stem is trying to play this. So now let me also give you a quick tip as well. You see this option here on your After Effects file. Let me save it. I've not saved it. Let me save it. Control S. I don't want it to delete. Let me save it in my downloads folder. I'll just call it 3MCT animation 2. Okay, so I've saved the file now. So now check this out. You see this thing here? You see you have full. Now what do all these options mean here? This is telling you that how do you want to render this thing as? It's just a preview. The higher this thing is, the slower it will be to play back. So if you have a very slow system, right, I would advise that you don't use full. Maybe use third or quarter. The lower you go, the faster it will be. So it will temporarily make the displays that you are seeing now, it will make it low resolution so that you can easily play it back, right? It's just for previewing. It's not the final thing. So let's say you are trying to play and it's not playing and it's slow, just reduce it. Maybe make it half. It's going to reduce the quality. And sometimes you might not even see the difference. So why not? So I'll make it quarter and there's almost no difference. But it's going to be way faster now. Now it's playing smoothly without any problem, right? So like I said, if you have a slow system, maybe something's happening to your system, just reduce this quality for the sake of seeing your animation. So I can see that this thing is moving too slow, like it's too slow. So what do I want to do? I want to make it faster. So I'll just move the keyframe to a quicker position here. So let's see. Still too slow. Still too slow. Well, so I think I want to zoom in. I want to see this very closely. So these buttons are for zooming in. See, zoom out and zoom in. So I want to zoom into my keyframes. I want to see it well. So let's see. I think that time is too short. It's too. It should be faster than that. It should just quickly appear. Yeah, okay, I think that's better. So after this moves, I want the one down to move as well. So as this one finishes, this one too will now do its own thing. So I'll go over to my layer, blue bottom shape. Yeah, that's it. Expand it. So you see how you can animate it again. You expand it, you click transform. So I want it that let me see, maybe at this position. Don't forget we're here, right? Just looking at the one we are doing before. So at this position, I want it to be here, so I'll keyframe it. I've enabled keyframe. That's what I press. Then at this position, I want it to be off screen. So I move it down perfectly. I think I will make it quick. So let's see. Let me see. Now it looks too fast. Okay, so let's see now. Let's play it from the beginning and see. Right, so you can see now this one happened, then this one happened second. So that's the stage we're talking about. Yeah, that's good. That's good. So now what's the next thing I should move? We have the new Fanta text. So yeah. Now it depends on how detailed you want to go. I can say, oh, let me animate these letters individually. So after N appears, E should appear, W should appear, step by step by step by step. But I don't have that time. So I'll just do all of them together. The new Fanta together will just appear. Because remember that we had each of these things divided into different layers. Where is new Fanta? Here. Remember that these things were into each, they had their separate layers. So let me open it up so you can see what I'm talking about. See, each have their own layers, all the letters. So I can actually keyframe all these things if I want. But I don't have time for that. So I'll just do everything together. So I will keyframe the entire composition. So I want to keyframe the opacity. I want it to appear. Opacity means how opaque is it. So I want it to appear. I don't want it to move, right? So what I'm going to do is that just as where this one ended around here, right? Where is my new Fanta? So I'll select the drop down again, transform. We have opacity here. Click that stopwatch icon. So at this point, right, I want it to be at 0 opacity. Don't show anything. Then at this point, let's say just a few seconds after, it now becomes visible. So let's see. Let's see it now. Right? So you see that we are making progress step by step. Right? Good. Next, what's supposed to move? The oranges. The oranges. So let me just, so now you see that we have so many things open at the same time. You can decide to hide them if they are looking too confusing. Just, click that drop down to hide everything for that layer. Now, because I want to know where this keyframe ended here, so I actually want to hide all this. I don't want to say it's too confusing now. I want to hide all the keyframes. There are too many. I want to just mark this point in time where it was, right? So there's actually what they call a marker. You can mark it on your timeline just for the sake of knowing when things happen. So I'll just put a marker. So I'll make sure I have empty selected, right? I'll press M on my M on my keyboard. No, wait, sorry. I think I'm coming. I just messed up. So I think okay, let's try again. It was this was opened. This was open. I think wait, I'm coming. Yeah, this was opened. Yeah, this was opened. Then this was opened. So so let it look very confusing as it was before. Then we had the which other thing was open again. And the new Fanta. Yeah, like this. So now I want to add a marker because I want to know where. No, wait, I think. Oh, I went to go and cancel something. The keyframe that was here cancelled. It cancelled. So there was a mistake. So let me keyframe it again. I went to go and undo it by mistake. So I would bring back the animation. Just small slip up. Let me remove this to 0% again. Yeah. So okay. Okay. So from here, I want to mark this place so I will know that this was where this thing ended, because after this thing ends, I want to have the oranges appear. So we have to like put a marker, right? It's just for the sake of being organized. Like I said, you don't have to do all these things. You can just manually do everything. But I like being organized. So you can add a marker in After Effects, right? Um, you just appear now. First of all, make sure that you don't have anything selected. Don't select anything, right? Um, in your After Effects timeline. Make sure you don't have anything selected, right? Okay. So how do we add a marker in After Effects? Like that's little, there'll just be a very tiny, what they call it now, a tiny icon that will show something. So we can do it in two ways. You see layer, markers, right? Add marker. See it, click it. See this tiny thing here that appeared? That's the marker. It's important in our case because I want to disable all these things. I don't want to see any of these layers here again. So I want to know where that thing stopped. So I can tell that, okay, that was where the last animation stopped, right? For being organized, orderly. Or another quicker method to add a marker, just press there's this star button on your keyboard. You see this, if you check it, you will see here, markers. See, it's telling you number pad star. So on your number pad keyboard, there's a star where the numbers are. Just press that star. It does the same thing to add a marker. So now what is moving? The oranges. So let's quickly animate all the oranges. Orange, 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 orange. So where is the orange? I think this is one orange here. Maybe I'll start with this. So I'll animate this one first, second, third, fourth, fifth. So I'll just quickly run through it. I'm sure you already know how to do it. So I think I'll just animate the opacity for all of them. So where is orange? Yeah, that's the first one I want to move. So I'll come here, click this, click my eyedropper, right? At this point, no, it's not, sorry, it's not, it's opacity. Yeah, opacity. So at this point, I want it to be 0 first. Don't be visible first, then at this point, it will be visible. So play from the beginning. I think it's a bit too slow. Well, let me see. Maybe I'll make them appear very quickly now. So after this one moves, this one should be next. So where is that orange? Right. I think it's this one, top right. Yeah. So you can see why it's good that we organize our files. Our layers. I would animate it. This one will be 0 here. Then at this point to be 100. So yep. So next what we have is this layer. So the bottom right, orange right bottom. Yep, here we have it. Opacity here will be 0 first. Then at this point you'll be 100. So let's play it and see. Then the last one will be this one that is close to the camera, which is bottom left. This is it. So we have this 0, and at this point 100. So let's play everything and see. Oh, sorry, I messed that up. Okay, let's see. Okay, good. Now, what's next after the orange is the bottle. So the bottle is next. Okay, where is the bottle? Bottle. So let me hide all these things now. I don't want. Well, where was the last thing? I think it was this. So let me move my marker to where it's ended. So it ended here. Okay, that's fine. Let me hide each other once again. So next, I'll continue my bottle from where that one stopped. Bottle. Expand it. So I think the bottle should it appear or move? Okay, let's just make it how should we do this bottle now? Maybe to just move from top to down just a little bit. Let me not make it appear. Oh no, it actually has to appear. Or yeah, let me try something fun. So let's say it's going to jump up from the screen. So let's say let me move it a bit. So let's say at this point, I'm going to add a keyframe here. It's going to be like this, right? But before it gets there, it's going to move. This is X and Y axis. So I can either use here to move it up and down if I want, or I can just drag it from the screen if I want. So I'll move it up away from the screen. So it's going to appear, it's going to move down like boom. So have right. Okay, that's fine. That's not bad. Then when this one ends, the splash will now appear. So I will make the splash to appear here as if it hit the ground and it now like had a splash. So I'll use the opacity here. It first be 0. At the point of him, say somewhere around here, 100. So let's see. Right? Okay. Miss, I guess we even skipped this. See, we skipped that orange behind. Wow, I made that one after. Okay. Okay, cool. So I think I skipped something. Let me first put this where this last one is, so I will know where it stopped. Okay. Let me see. There's an orange I missed. I missed one orange. Um, I think it's where is that orange I missed? I think it's this. Oh yeah, that was it. I missed the orange. So I'll just animate it anyway. Let me see. Where should it be animated now? Maybe after this one. So I will open it up again. Transform opacity first be 0, right? Then somewhere along here you appear. No. So yeah, 0, not 1. Okay, so yeah, let's see. So now what's left now is the arrows. So after this thing appears, we will now see the arrow. The arrow will now point. So maybe the arrow will move or it just appear. Yeah. Let's not make it too complicated. Where is the arrow? Where's arrow? Green arrow. Yeah, here we are. I would click this, enable animation, disable it first. Then around here it will appear. right? So let's see. Then once this thing finish pointing somewhere around here, right? We will now have this now in 40 cl. So let us see where is the now in 40 cl layer. I think this is it. Yeah, this is the shape and the layer. So I'll first, maybe the shape should appear first so that the text will be visible. So I'll go over here, enable this first to be 0, then it will be 100. Then let me open this one too. Same thing. Maybe at this point, maybe somewhere around here, it will be 0. So before that it's not showing, then it will now show here. So okay, so now that's very quick, short animation that we can make it more complicated, But I think this is a very good introduction on how we can animate. So you can see that we had, first of all, a blank screen. You saw the method and how we got here. We first said, okay, what should move first? What should the eyes focus on, right? Then we now began to animate them step by step, step by step, step by step. Now just imagine all these things appear at the same time. You know how confused you would have been. Like it should be like you don't even know what you're looking at. But because we gave it the principle of staging, right? We're able to make it all at least a bit organized. Right? That's very, very simple explanation. Now, I think I would sort of, maybe I'll take questions. So I would round up for today, so I can let us go home and practice this thing and do something ourselves. I didn't do anything spectacular. I just literally imported the files, right? I asked myself, what am I going to move first? I broke them down, wrote them down here, right? Once I was able to get that, I just began to animate it step by step. So add your keyframe, keep adjusting each of them till you finish and you have something like this. We've not even started doing like complex, animation or like effect or things like that. This is just simple keyframes. We've never started applying ease in and ease out, those other principles of animation. It's just very, very simple animation, right? So if you have questions, please feel free to ask me now before I continue. I round up for today. So have you have any questions? Or if I was too fast or something, just let me know. Any questions? Any questions?
No
Okay, good evening, sir.
question.
Yeah, evening.
Okay, I have a question. When you were talking about keyframe and marker, my network was glitching, so I didn't really get that part. How to set markers on your
Okay.
time frame.
Okay. So I said markers are just, they are not really they don't do anything to your animation. As name implies, it's just to mark a particular place in your timeline, right? So I use the markers because I wanted to see where some keyframes ended. I think the last keyframe, let me see. Why did I mark this one here? Okay, I wanted to know where this one should start. So I don't have to open like many keyframes and be checking out all the keyframes. So I just marked the last keyframe so that I'll be able to like, follow up. So I want it organized. So how do you add your marker? You just, first of all, don't select anything in your canvas. Leave it empty. Then you can use the shortcut star on your keyboard, the one on the right side of your keyboard, close to where you have those numbers, right? You can just click the star and to create a marker. So like that. You can also delete them, right click and delete, right? Or a slower way, but easier way or clearer way. Just come over here, you see layer, you click markers, you click add marker, add a marker. So you can literally just move your marker anywhere in your timeline to mark anything, basically. So that's what I did. I used marker for, essentially. Did I answer the question, or was that another question? I think you were saying something about
Okay,
keyframe.
okay, yes, I did indeed.
Okay.
Yes, yeah, the keyframe question is, hey, how do I construct this thing? Okay, the keyframes are like how it plays, right?
Yes, the
Like when
keyframe
you
is
are
just
animating, like
yeah,
for each particular
keyframe is
time.
yes, the keyframe is the value. It's like a value that is being stored. This is not frame by frame animation, right? The same way, the way we were drawing it initially, we used to draw the frames frame by frame. But this one now is more of like it is assisting us to put in between frames, right? So what the keyframes are just
Okay.
they are just like the important frames, that the computer should know where it should be per time. So if we keyframe, let's say, this position of this bottle, like the way we did here now, so we have two keyframes. We have the first keyframe is outside the screen, somewhere on top of the screen. Second keyframe is on the ground, right? These are two keyframes, 1 and 2. So in between what this will happen, it will now create that animation for us in between, right? So we're just literally saying at this point in time, at 1 minute 12 frames, or sorry, 1 second 12 frames, be at this position right here, which is what is here, position. Then at this other keyframe, at this point in time, be at this position. Then the computer will now fill in the gaps for us, essentially. I don't know if you understand. So
Yes,
it's
yes, I
just like
understand.
main, like a milestone movement. Okay, let's say I didn't want the thing to even come from the top. I wanted to come from the left. I'll just simply come over here to where this keyframe was, this first one. Let me drag that thing away from there. Let me move it here now instead. So the first keyframe is here, second keyframe is here. So what happens is that it would fill in the gap, essentially, right? But because I wanted it to be, more interesting, I set it to be on the top. But the keyframe are just like, at this point be here, at this point be here.
Mhm.
And whatever happens in between, the computer will help you do it.
Okay. Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So that's how we set all the keyframes for the position, the opacity, and even scale. We can even do so many more things. When we start going to more interesting things in the animation, we work with keyframes, and it doesn't really change from the fundamentals. I told you about another principle of animation. We called it um keyframing and pose to pose. If you remember, that was one of the principles I talked about where I said that, let's say you want to have an actor raise his hand. You have a first keyframe that his hands are down. Then second keyframe is that his hands are maybe at the middle position. And the last one is that his hands are totally up. So those in betweens, you probably have to draw it if you were doing it on your paper. But because we're using After Effects, is using, this technology. So what you just simply set those keyframes. It will now fill in the gaps for you. So it's the same thing, the same principle. We can still even apply ease in and ease out. After this, and that's what we are going to start doing. Fine-tune the emotion to make it look more, you know, interesting. Because it's just there. It's just okay. It's not really that good. It's just there. I think it's sharp moving in here. But we can make it way better by adding more things like ease in and ease out, even squash and stretch. Maybe when the bottle is on the air, to squash, so it will stretch. And once it hits the ground, it will now squash, right? So we can begin to like experiment with some of those things, but they all happen in this whole keyframe idea, right? So any other questions? Any other questions? So the reason why I did this from the beginning, like I literally designed this in Canva. I wait, let me see. Let me end it here. So sorry, so quickly, if you want your animation to end, I saw that it was just moving to one far place. I don't know where to move to. So I want you to end here, right? I don't want you to go past this place. So just press N on your keyboard. N, letter N, as in N for nets. It will stop it there, so it won't pass there when it's playing. So whenever it goes there, you just go back to the beginning. So I did this from the scratch, from Canva. I designed to Canva. I brought it to Photopea. I put it in After Effects, and I literally animated everything from scratch in under 2 hours. And I was explaining it. So I think that by the time we meet on Friday, I want to see at least something that we've done. Even if you've done it before Friday, right? So you can share it on the group. It will encourage other people as well. So I really want us to really see how we can tackle this thing, because by the time we start talking about Lottie files, JSON files, we cannot still be dwelling on these fundamental things. They're actually very simple. It's just adding keyframes. That's all. So I think the best way you can understand this is if you actually practice it, not just watch the video and say, I know it. Because if you don't practice, you will not really know that you don't know it like that. So if you practice, you have questions, you run into, issues, which you probably would. That's why we have that group. You ask your questions and we'll address everything. So please, like I said from the beginning, I shared a lot of resources on animation principles. If you've not watched those things, please watch them. They're very important, right? Then, if you've not also installed After Effects, please install After Effects. I thought that this is kind of like the most important thing we're going to use throughout this program, at least for now, before we move into other aspects. But as you've seen your capstone project, you are beginning to like address that project. So I think that even if you do this, if you reach this point alone, you have learned a lot. I'm telling you. So many things that I'm sharing that many people are not even aware of. Many people don't know that you can even you can copy files from Canva to After Effects. And nobody taught me this thing like a tutorial like this. It was years of experience that I discovered that it's even possible through trial and error. Maybe in production, you just say, oh, how can we? And I just discovered it. So this is I'm sharing with you. Don't take it just say, oh, it's just a normal, it's actually not so common to find. So make good use of it. Um, so you won't say I didn't have the opportunity, everything is there for you for free. So I don't see why you shouldn't use it to the best of your ability. And I believe that even as you have been, you didn't just come here by mistake, right? I really believe that we're selected, we're chosen to be part of this program. And I think it's wise that we make good use of it, because you can never tell what will happen in the future, nearest future. You just cannot tell. You just cannot tell. I remember when I was learning web development years ago. I just noticed like it was a 6 days program. I just quickly rushed and everything. I never knew that, that's what will lead me into many things that I eventually started doing later in life. You know, where I won so many awards. I co-founded a company, but it just began from the 6 days class. I mean, but I took it very seriously, right? And from there, I learned a lot. Even till now, I know what it has really helped me to do in my career. So don't just say, oh, this is just a program, there's nothing important. Like, it depends on how much um care and attention you give to it, that it will give back to you. If you don't give it attention, you just do it anyhow. When the opportunity passes and people are selected and things happen, you won't be able to blame anybody but yourself, right? So I just want to encourage you guys, don't let this thing pass you by. You won't say you didn't have the opportunity. The only problem issue will be that you did not take it seriously. And it's my desire that each and every one of us that are here will actually be able to make something out of this. I won't just waste our time, because I'm not here to waste my own time. So, right? Everyone has a goal and destination, but you can't skip it. If you skip the process, you're going to miss everything. So please take it very seriously. I think that's the best I can say. So I guess we would meet on Friday, have our physical class on Friday. So by then, hopefully you have something that you can show. This thing is recorded, so you would also go back and watch it, go over it again, practice it. On Friday we'll meet, and when we meet physically, face to face, any other questions you have, please feel free to ask me. Also on the group, share your questions, share your updates, things like that. So let's make the group more active, right? We just have like how many more months? This is February now. By the end of this month now, I mean, people are going to be selected for different things. You'll not be like, how come, you only have yourself to blame. So yeah, thank you for coming. I think that's all for today.
Sorry, please.
Have a wonderful, yeah.
I want to ask regarding that other software, the one we use for the please.
The
Is
one
there a
with
way we can is
which
there a
one?
way we can download that TV, whether TV Paint or something? Maybe that TV Paint something. The one you were using to draw that 3D and to draw 2D animation.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
whatever.
Okay.
Is there
No, are you talking about wait? Are you talking about this software? Let me see. Is it this one?
I have that TV and TVP.
TV. We didn't talk about TV Paint today. Okay, you mean initially from the
Yeah,
first class we had?
initially when we first started, we were talking about
Okay, okay,
that
okay.
one.
That one for drawing. Yeah. Um. Yeah, that one is it's an animation. It's a 2D frame by frame animation software. Yeah.
Like I'm saying, is there a way to get it, or can you share the link for us to download it or something?
Okay, download it. Okay.
Because
Yeah. Sure.
I'll
Sure.
try to download it. But I think you pay or something. You have
Okay.
to buy
Okay.
it.
I mean, yeah, it's fine. But I mean, there are other alternatives. You don't necessarily have to use that. But yeah, I will share the link for you.
But if the other
Uh,
alternative, you can share them with us so that we know the one to download.
yes, yes, yes. There are so many of them. I'll share them. I will share them on the group so you can just pick anyone. But that's not part of what we're doing now. So
Right.
just so you know,
And
that's
then
for
I think okay, and I think Taiwo wanted to add something now. The IHS group, I think somebody mentioned, I don't know, someone posted the voice notes in the group one time about one of those courses we are doing in the IHS, and whether that Alice course, I don't even, because I've not really done it. I think it's Taiwo that should be able to explain better. I think.
Okay, if you can explain, because I don't really understand. Not really understand.
I think she was going to ask you if truly that list is it like very compulsory for us to
Okay,
actually.
Okay, I
okay,
think
let
that
me
one.
explain it.
Okay.
December time when we started, there was this programming with Alice course we're doing where Coursera everywhere. When it was January, then that's when they dropped this IHS platform, whatever.